Hi, welcome to my kitchen. I'm Donna. Today we are going to be making 2-ingredient dough. It's a famous Weight Watchers recipe, so if you are watching your weight, this is healthy and very low in points. The 2 ingredients are self-rising flour and non-fat Greek yogurt, plain. I definitely prefer this brand over any other brand for this recipe. The dough gets very tacky as you're mixing it, and this Faye Zero is the best. It works great. So don't alter that. This is what I suggest. If you do not have self-rising flour, you can do it with all-purpose flour, some baking powder, and salt. And I'll give you those measurements later. The basic recipe for the 2-ingredient dough is 1 cup to 1 cup. So it's equal ratio. So depending on how much you want to make, but 1 cup will give you about 4 servings of a good piece of bread. So we're going to start out with the flour, the self-rising flour. I just need 1 cup of that. Put that in your bowl. And then our Greek yogurt, 1 cup of that. You don't have to be a master baker to do this recipe. As I've said before on other videos, I'm not a baker. I'm not good at measuring, so I don't like to do this much, but 2 ingredients I can handle. Okay, so I've got 1 cup in here of yogurt. We'll just put that into our mix. Okay. Then it's time to get your hands in. This is where it might get a little messy. So get a little flour on your hands. And then you just start mixing it in. Okay? It feels weird at first and it gets clumpy on your hands. But you just keep mixing it in until it comes together. It takes a couple of minutes. And then you sort of have to clean off a little, get that yogurt in there. And this flavor, the type of bread it is, it's very much like has a sourdough taste, like has a little tang to it. You can add whatever you would like in here as far as flavoring. As a matter of fact, I meant to add in my rosemary here. So let me just do that because we're going to have this with our lasagna. And again, with dried herbs, you want to make sure to sort of crush them up a little with your fingers before you put it in, which I did before we started the video. So I just want to incorporate that. You can also use some garlic powder in here if you'd like. That's if you're making like a garlic bread. One thing about this dough is that you can make anything you want. It's bread. You can make bagels. You can make pretzel bites, you can make cinnamon sugar bites, you can do whatever you want. Now, as you can see, this dough is starting to come together. So I'm going to pull it out of the bowl and onto our cutting board and sort of knead it for a few minutes. Okay, so you want to just knead it just like dough. It does not need it does not need a ton of kneading. Maybe just a minute or 2. Make sure you're incorporating all your pieces. I'm flying a little bit all over the kitchen. And if your hands start to get a little tacky, you can get a little more flour. But as you can see, it's not sticking. That's because it's this Faye yogurt. I promise you, if you try a different brand, it won't work. It'll be more of a mess. Okay. I think we're about ready to get this in the oven. All right, let me wash my hands up and then we'll get this in the oven. Okay, we're ready to put this bread in the oven. I'm just going to take some cooking spray and spray my cookie sheet. And then our bread goes on to there. You could also use parchment paper if you don't have cooking spray. Okay, we're going to coat this with an egg wash. That'll help it get nice and golden brown in the oven. So just cover it. Okay. We are ready to go. We're going to go in the oven at 350 for about 18 to 22 minutes. And then we will be ready to eat. Okay, I think our bread's about done. Let's go ahead and pull it out of the oven. Oh yeah. Liv, you're going to want to get a close-up of this one. Look how nice and golden brown that is. Let's pull it off onto our cutting board. So this one was in the oven a little bit longer, more about 25, 26 minutes. So you just have to adjust your oven, but start out between 18 and 22 minutes. But this came out nice and golden brown. We'll cut that in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and get some olive oil for dipping and a little drizzle of balsamic vinegar. If I could get the lid open. Oh, honey, can you open this? And then I'm going to be adding in, I have this seasoning called Highlands Italian Cheese Sprinkle that I got from the Savory Spice Store. But you can use whatever you like. You could use rosemary, that happens to be my favorite spice. You could also just use Italian seasoning. And this is not sprinkling very well. So we're just going to give a little. Okay, thank you, dear. All right. Okay, let's just give that a little mix. And then, oh yeah, oh, I can't wait to dip this bread into that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cut this up. It's still a little warm. But go ahead and take a look at that. Okay, we'll go ahead and cut another slice.
I'm gonna go ahead and get
You
this piece right here.
You gotta get off my bread. No.
I had to work for
Oh no,
him.
he didn't. See that? This is what I deal with every day in the kitchen with him. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just tear a little piece off and dip that in there. It's pretty hot, but two-ingredient dough. So just to recap, we've got 1 cup of self-rising flour, 1 cup of Greek yogurt, non-fat, plain. And what brand did I say? Faye Zero. So those 2 ingredients, you can adjust the measurements. They just need to be equal measurements. And then if you don't have self-rising flour, you can use all-purpose flour. And that would be 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and 3/4 teaspoon of salt. So that's the recipe if you do not have self-rising flour. 2-ingredient dough. Enjoy.